Is Republican Thom Tillis one of the most vulnerable senators in 2026? Yeah, probably so. Hey everybody, I'm Ruben Jones. I covered the North Carolina congressional delegation here in D.C. Look, you're probably going to hear Tillis's name a lot over the coming year because if Democrats want to get on any sort of path to retaking control of the Senate, it's probably going to have to run through North Carolina. So quick resume here. Tillis is in his second term and is known as a conservative Republican here in Washington. But in recent years, he's gotten more of a reputation as being a moderate Republican, and that's because he supported some of the more bipartisan legislation in recent years, including the CHIPS legislation, the bipartisan infrastructure law, the gun safety law. And because of that, he's gotten a lot of controversy from some of his own Republicans in North Carolina. He even got censured by the party. And so you've got a significant number of more Trump-like Republicans, if you will, who want to primary Tillis next year. The issue for them is that while a few people have lined up to challenge Tillis in the Republican primary, there's nobody, at least as of yet, of really well-known name recognition.
And if we look at our congressional delegation, right, that's an obvious place to look. And what we see is a whole lot of freshmen, which wouldn't make a lot of sense. See somebody with some power like a Virginia Fox, but if she were to run for the United States Senate, she'd be the oldest senator ever elected in her first term. And then you've got, maybe a Richard Hudson, which seems very unlikely.
So let's say Tillis can get through a Republican primary next year. The reason he is perhaps the most or one of the most vulnerable Republicans in the Senate is because it is a very challenging re-election in November. So right now we know that Wiley Nickel, former congressman, he has expressed interest in running against Tillis. But the biggest wild card here is this guy, former North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, who is seen as a popular governor in the state. If he gets in this race, boy, this one could get really interesting between Tillis and Cooper.
If it's Roy Cooper who gets in on the Democratic side, it's going to be just, a barn burner.
So whether it's Cooper or not, the reason that this is a challenging re-election for Tillis is that you look at the map here, Democrats really don't have a lot of opportunities to pick off Republicans. All this has played out really interestingly too here in Congress because really any move that Tillis makes, he gets criticism from not only Democrats, but also criticism from some in his own party. And look, while Tillis was known as sort of a more moderate Republican, he has been really running to the right, supporting Donald Trump on pretty much everything, with a few exceptions, including his support Tillis' support of Ukraine, really being adamant in that. Also was not a fan of Donald Trump's pardons of the January 6 rioters who attacked law enforcement officers. But on the question of cabinet nominations by Trump, despite some thinking maybe Tillis could cross over and not support some of them, he has voted for every one of Trump's cabinet nominees so far.
Cash on the barrelhead, right? I mean, if we look at who gives money to incumbent politicians, it tends to be the folks from either extreme.
And the reason he is one of the most vulnerable senators in 2026 is because North Carolina is a state that could flip blue, just given the dynamics and how much attention the Democrats have given it and how that state has changed in terms of some new people coming in. Also because the amount of money that Democrats are going to invest in this race and the time and attention on it, given that there aren't that many opportunities for Democrats to flip. Beating Tillis, though, is still going to be a big challenge for Democrats. Keep in mind, Tillis was able to win his last election despite Democrats focusing on trying to flip that seat then. And North Carolina has really been trending red, at least in recent federal elections. It voted for Trump last November. It's voted for a Republican for Senate for a number of recent elections as well. But still, it will be a challenge for Tillis. So yes, Thom Tillis, he is one of the most vulnerable senators in 2026.